The name's Drake, Leo Drake, and welcome to the Dragon's Den. This is the second video in my James Bond series. If you have not seen the Sean Connery video yet, I'll try to leave a link on the screen for you. Thank you for spending part of your day with me. Please consider subscribing as it is free and you do not have all the time in the world. If you enjoy the video, click the like button and ring the notification bell to be notified when I post a new video. In this video, we are reviewing the Bond film On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Some context before we begin. On Her Majesty's Secret Service is the sixth instalment in the Bond franchise. The previous 5 all starred Sean Connery, but the actor wanted too much money to return, so the producers went with a younger, lesser-known actor, George Lazenby. The great thing about Bond is everyone has their own favourites, and this film is quite controversial, as it is one of those you either love or hate. I have one of those opinions, but which one? I'm not trying to sway you either way, just looking to give my honest opinion. I will be discussing the movie during this video, so consider this your one and only spoiler warning. So let's get to it. On Her Majesty's Secret Service is from 1969 and directed by Peter Hunt. I have watched all 25 Bond movies in the franchise for these series, and it was not my original intention to make a video just about this one movie, but after watching it, I just had to. I believe On Her Majesty's Secret Service is the worst James Bond film, and here are my reasons why. Firstly, George Lazenby is not as good as Sean Connery in the role. George Lazenby's Bond likes a fight, of which there are many in this film. He is often referred to as Commander Bond, though for me he lacks charm and the vigilant, ruthless nature of Sean Connery.
My name's Bond. James Bond.
Would he have improved with further movies? Perhaps, but I can only go on what I see here. Next, George Lazenby is not a bad Bond, and I could look past that if there was not so many other issues I had with the film. My second problem with the movie is it's too long. The second act of this film is where most of my issues come from, and it drags on way too long, making the overall film overstay its welcome. A large part of this film involves James Bond's romantic involvement with Tracy, played by Diana Rigg. After rescuing Tracy from drowning, Bond pays her debt at the casino table and they become involved. After Bond is pulled off the Blofeld case and reassigned, he is given 2 weeks vacation. During this time, Bond and Tracy fall in love in a brief but efficient scene. All this is absolutely fine, and I actually like that Bond spends time with a girl rather than instantly falling in love or in bed with her. The problem comes in the second act, when Bond, disguised as genealogist Hilary Bray, infiltrates Blofeld's clinic high up in the snowy Swiss Alps. Blofeld wants to be confirmed as a count, but needs his lineage proven by a professional. The clinic has only female patients supervised by Irma Blunt. Bond repeatedly sleeps with patients during the second act. Now, some might say he is trying to gather information on Blofeld's operation, but repeatedly? How much information is he really getting? Later, Tracy reappears to help Bond escape, and he quickly proposes. My issue is in the previous film, You Only Live Twice, James Bond gets married in that, so it feels like the same plot point. At the film's prolonged conclusion, Bond and Tracy get married. We briefly see Q at the wedding, and while driving away with all the time in the world, Tracy is killed by a drive-by shooting from Blofeld and Irma Blunt. So the whole romance is just snuffed out like it never existed. Another question I have is during the fight between Bond and Blofeld, the leader of Spectre is last seen stuck in a tree limb.
He's branched off.
Do Do we then assume that Bond just left Blofeld there to recover and come back to take his revenge? Perhaps my largest complaint about this movie is Blofeld's plan, which I still don't fully understand. But he brainwashes or hypnotizes young women who come to the clinic to be cured of a phobia or malady. And then Blofeld's plan is to use these women to make the human race infertile unless he receives a large ransom. Totally ridiculous, and not in a fun, campy James Bond way. In this is a stupid idea way. I think it is also fair to raise a question on the continuality. This movie is not an official reboot, and that is confirmed by the people who made the film. Characters like Moneypenny and Q are played by the same actors, leading the audience to believe this is a continuation of the James Bond story, despite George Lazenby taking over the role. Now, my question is very simple. Why does Blofeld not recognise James Bond when the two meet face to face in his clinic? Blofeld and Bond have met in previous films, so Bond's disguise as Hilary Bray would be useless because Blofeld already knows what Bond looks like. I know they say that each James Bond movie is independent, but I'm not accepting that because you can't carry over characters and plot points you want and ignore the ones you don't. After extensive chase scenes, fights, and daring escapes, Bond returns to London where he's informed that the government intend to meet Blofeld's demands, probably because they cannot understand how his plan works either. Bond, refusing to give up, contacts Tracy's wealthy father, Draco, and they assault Blofeld's clinic in armed helicopters. Another question, why did James Bond not do this in the first place? We know Blofeld is up to something sinister. Why seek to infiltrate the secure base disguised as a genealogist when you could just attack it with helicopters? George Lazenby is never afraid of getting into a fight in this film, and it just seems a superior idea. I have seen reviews from fans of this film, and if you like On Her Majesty's Secret Service, that is great. I'm not trying to tell you you're wrong. I'm just sharing my opinion. Some people say this film is more realistic, perhaps because Bond does not use gadgets much. I personally quite like the gadgets, because how else would Bond, a normal man, be able to do all of these incredible things? My argument would be that this film, like all the others in the franchise, is not really realistic. For example, Bond skis down the snowy mountains to escape. Now, could Bond know how to ski? Yes. His family is quite prominent, and it is perfectly reasonable that James Bond knows how to ski. However, later, James Bond follows Blofeld in a bobsleigh down an icy mountain track. Is it possible James Bond is a secret bobsleigh enthusiast? I think it is unlikely, but even if we give him the benefit of the doubt, during the descent, Blofeld throws a hand grenade which blows up Bond's bobsleigh, but leaving him completely unharmed. James Bond, the expert alpine skier, the Winter Olympic bobsleigh driver, and the man who is impervious to hand grenades, James Bond then manages to jump on Blofeld's bobsleigh, even though he was pursuing him and just got blown up. Now, I'm not saying we don't see similar things in other James Bond movies. What I am saying is this film is not more realistic than the others in the franchise, which have better performances and better storylines. Possibly this is more true to Ian Fleming's book, as I have not read all of them, but there are major plot holes which I feel sure Ian Fleming would not have overlooked. When I reflect on this film, most of my issues come from the bloated second act, though it does feel like this is missing several transitions from scene to scene. For example, when Blofeld is left stuck in a tree, and also when Blofeld captures Tracy and Bond returns to London moments after being involved in an avalanche. Perhaps these were cut due to the film's already extended runtime, but they certainly impact my enjoyment of the movie.
This never happened to the other fella.
Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of On Her Majesty's Secret Service and the Bond franchise down in the comments below. Look out for my other Bond videos coming later this year. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, give it a like and share it. I'm looking to post a new video every Monday, so be sure to come back for that and click the link on screen to watch another of my videos. Until next time, hoorah!